In the early 1830s, men in their 70s and 80s traveled miles over rough mountain roads to reach remote Appalachian courthouses. They stood before local judges, raised their right hands, and swore legal oaths about a war they had fought 50 years earlier. The National Archives building in Washington, D.C., now preserves approximately 80,000 of the resulting pension files. These records represent the first time ordinary backcountry settlers were legally required to record their own life stories in their own words. This migration created a unique problem for genealogy. After the Revolution, thousands of veterans moved from eastern battlefields into the steep hollows of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio. As those settlers crossed the mountains, the traditional paper trail of the East often fades or vanishes. Continuous county records are frequently missing. To bridge this gap and secure a federal pension, these displaced veterans had to navigate a rigid bureaucratic gauntlet. The government demanded sworn, detailed proof of their past lives. This administrative friction forced early Appalachian settlers to generate what became the most detailed surviving record of their generation's existence. The first major legislative hurdles appeared in the pension laws of 1818 and 1820. These acts were highly restrictive, limiting eligibility only to soldiers who had served in the regular Continental Line. The 1820 law added a punishing financial requirement. To receive a check, an aging veteran had to prove he lived in absolute poverty by submitting a legally binding property schedule. These schedules cataloged the mundane reality of backcountry life. Applicants were forced to list every asset they owned, from weaving tools and spinning wheels to the specific furniture in their cabins. The inventories included livestock and essential survival gear, like this cast iron Dutch oven. If a veteran owned too many iron pots or a healthy cow, his claim of poverty could be denied. Thousands of veterans refused to apply during this era. Many had served in local state militias rather than the Continental Line, while others were too prideful to officially declare themselves paupers in a public court. While the poverty requirement blocked many, the veterans who did comply left behind a permanent, itemized snapshot of Appalachian material life that exists nowhere else in the historical record. The breakthrough came with the Pension Act of 1832. This landmark law removed the poverty requirement entirely. This transformed the research landscape for Appalachia. For the first time, state militia soldiers, who made up the bulk of the backcountry fighting force, could apply for federal support based on their service alone. These files, known as survivor or S files, are identified by this S prefix. To secure one, a veteran had to dictate his entire wartime experience under oath, naming his specific campaign routes, battle locations, and commanding officers. Because official rosters were often lost or burned, the government required applicants to bring in neighbors or former comrades to provide corroborating witness affidavits. By shifting the burden of proof from poverty to combat experience, the Pension Office effectively crowdsourced an unparalleled oral history of the Revolutionary War. In 1836, the government began requiring a different kind of proof, as they expanded eligibility to the widows of veterans. Proving a marriage was a significant challenge. An aging widow had to legally establish a backcountry wedding that occurred in the 1780s, often decades before counties kept formal marriage registers. These W files contain rare genealogical data, from maiden names to the names of frontier ministers. Some even contain physical pages torn directly from family heirlooms, like this antique Bible, to provide the only surviving record of a marriage or birth. The final category is the most overlooked, the R files, or rejected applications. These rejections are vital for research. A denial letter from a clerk in Washington often alerts genealogists to alternate surname spellings, a kinship link that wasn't legally recognized, or service claimed under the wrong state. Whether an application was approved or rejected, the sheer difficulty of satisfying the government's demands guaranteed that a permanent paper trail was preserved in the national record. For modern researchers, the biggest hurdle is geographic. Federal pension files are indexed under the state where the veteran lived when he applied, not the state where he fought. This means a file indexed in Kentucky or Ohio directly connects an ancestor back to a specific battlefield on the East Coast, providing the evidence for their westward migration. These documents must be handled with care. They were shaped by fatal memories and occasionally calculated deception, including documented cases where loyalist veterans successfully claimed they were patriots just to secure the payments. To find these records, look past standard census data. Search the NARA M804 collection through the National Archives, Fold 3, or Family Search, making sure to check multiple state indexes. Opening an S, W, or R file moves the research past property lines and tax brackets. It recovers the sworn, first-hand voice of an ancestor.
Thanks for watching. Please join us again next time for more history from the mountains. Don't forget to like and subscribe,